It's a thrill for me to be here. I'm a Chile head from the United States, and what I do is I have a YouTube channel, okay? If you haven't seen my YouTube channel, there's internet here. You guys probably all have it. Go to YouTube and type in Chasetheheat, and you'll find me. Before I get into my talk, there's only one reason I'm here. If you all look right there, chilling out in WA, that is Chef Kenny. One of the most amazing guys. A thrill for me to meet him in person because I've known him for a long time. I knew who he was, but I wouldn't be here for Chef Kenny. So I want to invite Chef Kenny up here for just a second. And also I want to invite, thank you, I want to invite Chef Megs. Get over here. This is Chef Kenny. One of the greatest guys, embodies every single good quality in the world that people here all have it. And I mean it. And the Chef Megs, you want to talk about a future? We're all going to be eating her food in the future. You're amazing. Thank you. Are you excited about being here? Are you? Chef Kenny, thank you so much.
Kenny's put this all together.
Yeah, he did.
He's got Johnny here. He's made a massive effort. I've been speaking to Kenny over the last few months. I don't know if you've seen it online, but it's all over social media. But not as many pictures of Kenny as maybe there should have been. But yeah, he's been all over the place. They even had a big introduction on, what was it, Thursday night? Valentine's Day. We all left our wives and husbands and came in to see Kenny, check out his place and meet Johnny.
And when we're done, I want everybody to go over there. Some of the greatest sauces and coolest products he's got there. Don't do it yet unless you really want to. Then go ahead. Just make sure you listen up. But when I'm done, we're gonna scoot over there, and I want everybody to come join us. But Chef Megs, an honor. Thank you, Chef Kenny. Love you, man. Thank you.
Just chill out.
Just chill out. All right, so thank you. Give them a hand. These guys are great.
Woo!
Okay, so real quickly, I want to just tell you a little bit about my channel and how the whole thing started. It dates back when I was about Chef Meg's age. She's 8. When I was 7, my mom and dad grew up in Vermont, a little teeny state in the U.S. on the East Coast. And my mother we had a garden. My family had a garden. We were kind of poor when we grew up, and my friends, when they wanted a snack, and pardon my English accent, I wish I could do the Australian bit, but I can't. I'm not good at it. Maybe when I move here, it'll take on. But my friends would sneak into their family's pet cabinet looking for a snack. What I would do, I remember really clearly, I would sneak into the garden looking for something to eat. And I went out one day, and we had a whole row of jalapeno plants. And I plucked a pod off the plant, a chili, and ate it. And I remember, I was a kid then, like I said, her age. I remember running around our property freaking out about how hot it was. It was really hot. And I thought, I'll never do that again. The next day, I'm back in there again picking more. And I just kept eating them. And about 2 or 3 weeks later, we were having breakfast one day. My dad was getting ready to go to work, and they were talking about the garden. And my mom says, I don't know what's going on. Those jalapeno plants aren't producing. And I was like, because I was eating all of them. So that's kind of where it started for me. And then I got more into chilies, and I watched chili videos. There are some wonderful guys that have YouTube channels where they review chilies and hot sauces, and I started watching them. But you know what I found out? That most of them are very foul. They use a lot of very bad language. They spew. It wasn't very family friendly. And I never watched one of those videos and said, I want to eat that. It just didn't help the chili community. You guys know what I mean by that? So what I want to do is I wanted to start a channel that was family friendly, still a lot of fun, entertaining, but I want it to be something that your children, your grandchildren, your wife, your daughter, anybody could watch and never be offended. I've never cursed on my channel, not once. Promise you it'll never happen. And I don't spew or do any of those gross things that people do. I want to further, my whole goal of being here, you know what the goal is? To put a giant spotlight on Australia, because some of the greatest products, and some of the greatest pods and sauces are from your country, which is amazing. So my goal here is when I go back, I have 2 suitcases. One of them is empty. So when I go back, it's going to have 200 pounds of hot sauce in it. And I'm going to review hot sauces for a long time to come from Australian sauce makers, which are amazing.
Now, a lot of people here probably don't know who you are. So you've got your YouTube channel. How long have you been doing it for, Johnny?
I started my YouTube channel 2 years and 4 months ago. And when I tell you that I started it just for fun, You guys need to believe it. I started my channel just to have some fun with it. I was having more fun than anybody watching it, you know? So there on my channel, there are two things you'll see. There are reviews where I review peppers and sauces and you name it. And then I have challenges where I'll do some really extreme stuff. But even on the challenges, I'm a gentleman. You're not gonna hear anything that's not family friendly. Now I do things like, one of my videos, I think I talked to you about it, I jumped out of an airplane. I went to Colorado. Got in a plane, went to 13,000 feet and jumped out of an airplane with 3 Carolina Reapers and ate them during the free fall. And they filmed it. It's one of the, if you haven't seen my channel, go to YouTube and type in Chasetheheat and you'll see it. But that's really how it started. And there are about 960 videos on my channel right now. And only about 125 of them are challenges. The rest, excuse me, the rest are reviews. But they're always going to be entertaining, hopefully.
Did you start on social media before, or you went straight into the YouTube?
You know, I didn't start on social media. I just started. The reason I didn't start on social media, it wasn't like a launch. It wasn't like I had a game plan. I was flying by the seat of my pants. You know, I just said, "Oh, I'll start a channel." I made a request to be a YouTube partner. They approved it, and I started my show. And then about months after I started my channel, I started on Instagram. It's _Johnny Scoville on Instagram. I started Facebook, and that sort of assisted things, but it was mostly a YouTube launch.
And did you used to produce? Are you making your own jams and sauces and things as well?
No, you know, everybody thinks I'm a grower, and I'm not. I'm going to.
So you're a consumer. You're basically like everyone here.
I'm a big consumer.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really am.
Fantastic.
So I don't grow. You know why I called the channel Chasetheheat? There's an expression in America that everybody marches to the beat of their own drummer. You guys ever hear that? Okay, it's an American expression. In other words, we all have our own beat, our own cadence. Everybody here, that little one there, we're all chasing the heat, one way or another. Different cadence, different pace, different levels of aggression, but we all chase the heat, whether we realize it or not. And that's why I started it like that.
And how many followers would you have on your YouTube channel?
Right now, it's not that big. I have about almost 37,000 followers. I'm getting about 125 to 150 new ones every day, which is astonishing. We're in about 175 or 180 countries, think about that for just a minute. Peppers, right? Listen, there's no borders. 180 countries or so. There's only 196 on the whole rock we're on. So, like in almost every country in the planet, I've got subscribers. And you think they're all speaking my language? Half of them probably have no clue what I'm saying. But there's that common vibe. You know, I go to all these festivals and shows. And you know what's wonderful about this? There's a common vibe. Do you guys know what I mean by that? There's that common feel. We're all here for the same reasons. You guys, I have family members. I have a sister. Now, she's on board now, but when I started my channel, she called me and she's like, "What are you doing?" Looked down her nose at me. I said, "What do you mean what I'm doing?" I didn't know what she was talking about. She gave me a hard time at my channel. Now she's on board, but I have people that look down the nose at me like, "What?" It doesn't happen here. You guys are my family. This is it. It's a big giant. This to me feels like a family. You guys ever been to a family reunion where you meet a bunch? They say, "You don't know this. It's your cousin Joe," and you've never met him before, but you're like instant family. That's what this feels like to me, and that's why
I got to say, all the producers have been so excited about you coming here. So I mean, they're the experts. So if they think that highly of you, I reckon you guys have to jump onto this YouTube channel and check it out, especially if you're into chilies. Sounds like you know what you're talking about. Sounds like.
When I started my channel, it's funny, when I started my channel, I had a passion for chilies, but I'm not an expert, and there's a little blurb where you can click on the channel. It tells about it. That's it. I'm going on a journey. Who wants to come with me on my journey of pain and pleasure? Really fine line between the two. And, you know, I've grown a lot, I've learned a lot, and I know infinitely more now than when I started my channel. Right now I go all over the world. I was in the Philippines a few months ago. In May I'm going to be in New Zealand. June we're going to the UK, and then back to the Philippines, and then China in November. And it's all because of one thing, a passion for chilies.
Well, let's take a step back. So, okay. The best and most pleasurable experience you've had with chilies? Talking about pleasure and pain, what's the best experience you've had?
I don't know. Well, this is one of them. Are you kidding me? This is really this is my like happy place. I was joking with you. I think I talked to you earlier. You guys ever hear the whole Valhalla thing? Like Vikings, when they die, they go to Valhalla. That's the myth. And every day they wake up and they fight. And if they die, the next day they get up and do it again. This is my Valhalla. And man, this is my idea of heaven. You know, you mentioned some products. I don't create anything. I'm not a maker. I'm just I'm an entertainer. But I have, since I started my channel, I have 6 different hot sauces that have my picture or my name on it. And I have a few challenge products. One called the Johnny Scoville Tube of Terror. Some of you guys have seen it. It's a tube of peanuts that are 13 million Scoville heat units. So that's one of the things that I do. But best experience, here's the weirdest thing that people don't get. Do you remember a little while ago, we had a couple guys that were up here, and he says, it's kind of like a legal drug. Did you guys hear him say that? Okay. I gotta share with you something. That's a big part of it. You ask about the best experience. You know what happens when you eat a lot of chilies? Your body sort of goes into into shock, in essence, you know, in reality, in shock. And your body basically says, okay, Johnny's got a problem, his throat's on fire, and he's in pain, so let's send some dopamine and some endorphins to his throat to assist him. And that's our natural body's way to protect. If you break a leg or something, sometimes people get shot and they don't feel it. Dopamine and endorphins. So one of the great benefits of eating chilies is when you kind of push yourself to the point where you're past your comfort zone, you get this amazing endorphin rush that I can't even explain to you. I can't even describe it. It's one of the most, the first time it ever happened, my fingers were tingling so much, I held them up because I thought I could see them like shaking, and they weren't. I'm like, it's one of the most amazing feelings, and it's, guess what? Legal, free, not free, but legal and healthy for you. You guys understand the health benefits of chilies? Nobody ever talks about that enough. In a pod, I don't mean like a soup pod, in the average chili pod, there's more vitamin C in a chili than there is in 3 oranges. I haven't been sick in a really long time. I'm telling you right now that I don't think a germ could live in me. It would enter my system and go, that's it, we're out of here, it's Johnny. I don't get sick, so that's one of the great benefits, I think.
So what about pain? What's the most painful experience, crazy experience, or maybe unpleasurable experience that you've had with chilies? You must have had at least one.
I got a couple that are really tough. You know, the challenges I do are really extreme, and there's not, the reviews, I review things so that you guys watch my channel, you can decide what you want to buy based on reviews. As far as challenges, I do some that are really horrific, and they're not things that anybody should do, but you know what I say on my channel all the time? If it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. And there are a lot of things in life that things are not worth overdoing. Chilies are one of those things that's worth overdoing. One of them was I did a challenge where, you guys are familiar with extract, right? Some of these pods, this is a Carolina Reaper plant. On the high end, about 2.2 million Scoville heat units. There's a company called 357 Magnum, and they have it's called plutonium. Think about the name, plutonium, right? Probably ought to have a warning label. The warning label is that long, but it's 9 million Scoville heat units, and it's a whole vial. And when you get it, it is thick. It's not even liquid. It's like a solid. I had to sit it in hot water to get it liquid so I could drink it. And my goal, probably not the smartest thing, but I drank the entire bottle. And I'm telling you that if I gave the average, even a hardcore chili head, a bottle of this would probably last you 15 years, because one drop will heat a pot of chili. And I'm not exaggerating, I don't do that. So I drank the entire bottle. That was probably one of the worst ones.
How long did you suffer for?
3 days.
3 days?
I had capsation cramps. You got cab cramps? I had the cab cramps for 16 hours without stopping.
You do it twice?
And it took me, yeah, I did it twice. You know why I did it twice? Here's why I did it twice. I get this all the time. We talked about this. Phil, you're faking it. You fake that. I jumped out of an airplane and ate Reapers in the free fall, and I had people that said that I went to Hollywood and filmed that with a green screen. Do you understand that? You know what that would cost? It would cost you $250,000. It cost me $200 to jump out of an airplane. So I don't fake anything. But so many people said that the first one was faked because they thought I took it out of the camera, out of the frame of the camera. So I did it a second time for the haters. and I left it in the package, never took it out of the camera view, pulled it out of the box, heated it, and then drank it a second time. There won't be a third. No, that's right. The second one that was really bad was I had, you guys ever hear of chocolate bula? Chocolate bula is a really, really hot pot. I think it's hotter than the Reaper, which is recognized as the hottest. And I had 71 grams of dried chocolate bula flakes. And I put them in a bowl, like cereal. And I ate the equivalent is about 1.3 pounds of fresh pods. And I ate the entire 71 grams. And that was a...
Who wants to see Johnny have something now? I don't know, he's kind of warming up to it, isn't he? Now, I got some chili beer before.
Oh, yeah.
I reckon we should have that and maybe have a chaser of maybe a Reaper.
Well, let's do the Reaper and then the chaser with the chili beer.
So grab the chili beer, because who's had the chili beer from Bush Shack? So they're trying to get it hotter and hotter every year. It seems to be a bit of a competition here. I haven't tried it this year, but I'm pretty sure it's quite hot.
No, here's the thing about it. I spoke with the guys from Bush Shack. There's definitely a chili flavor, slight heat, but what happens is that the chilies pull out the flavor of the hops and really bring that out. So as much as it has chili in the label, and the title, it really just pulls out the flavor of the beer more so. But let's eat something.
I reckon what do you reckon? We go a Reaper?
Well, why not? Since it's the hottest, right?
Yeah, we'll go a Reaper.
You want? Here, we'll do one for you, one for me.
No, I'm not going to do one.
A bite?
So I'm sure someone else will come up. You can do it.
Anybody want to join me with a Reaper? Probably not a good idea. Let's not do that. All right. So now the Carolina Reaper is to put in perspective, a capsicum. You guys know what is a capsicum? We call it or not capsicum, excuse me, a jalapeno. It's about 5,000 or 6,000 Scoville heat units. This is somewhere between 1.5 million and 2.2 million. You know what's funny? Everywhere I go, it's funny. We walked in here today, 2 seconds in, Johnny, come here, I got something for you. Everywhere I go, people are like, you gotta eat this, you gotta eat that. It's kind of what happens. But this is a Carolina Reaper. It's one of the hottest. It's recognized by the Guinness Book as the hottest pepper in the world. This is the pepper that I ate when I skydived and jumped out of the plane.
What's the record then, if it's in the Guinness Book of Records? Somebody ate how much?
Well, no, I mean a record as far as the highest Scoville rating for this. I've eaten 25 of these at once. So I've never eaten more than that. There are people who've eaten more. Hey, I'm not the best at this. I'm just a knucklehead that likes eating hot stuff and likes hanging out with my family. So I don't ever pretend that I'm the greatest chili head. I promise you, there are people in India or strange places that don't have a YouTube channel that would eat more chilies by lunchtime than I'll eat in a week. I'm just one of those guys that has a channel that you can see. But this is a Carolina Reaper. You know, another thing that's kind of funny. A lot of people, one of the big misnomers in peppers is a lot of people think that the heat is in the seeds, and there's no heat. You know, and every once in a while, like I'll eat a pod and the seed that gets stuck here, it'll burn. It's not because the seed's hot. There's oils from the capsaicin on the outside of the seed, but seeds themselves don't have any heat. So where you get the heat is on the inside, the lining, the walls, the ribs, and what's called the placenta. That's where the majority of the heat is. Another really funny thing that happens, everybody thinks that I've destroyed my taste buds because of eating these chilies. It's silly. This is very hot, but it's very pleasurable for me. I'm finding fruity notes in this, almost even some citrus notes in this. If I pulled the person, somebody from the audience who's watching, that's not much of a chili head, and said, eat this pod. Do you taste fruitiness and a little bit of like citrus notes? Nobody's gonna say, yeah, I get it. They're just gonna taste hot. So what happens is the higher your tolerance gets, your taste buds are opened up to some flavors and nuances and subtleties that the average person is not gonna get. So the first half of this pepper was fruity for sure, a little floral notes. You ever hear people say floral? Kind of like really strong floral, like chocolate pods. Do we have any here? I don't think we do. Chocolate pods, the darker brown pods, they oftentimes are very floral. And by floral, I mean it sort of tastes like a mouthful of perfume or soap.
How about we'll pick somebody out of the audience that can randomly pick the next one for Johnny.
Next one?
Yeah, another one, why not? You said you can have 23 in a sitting. Who's going to pick one for him?
Does somebody want to pick up a pepper for me?
Yep, up you come. Up the back, yeah. So have some of that beer as well. I think it's quite hot.
You thought this beer was hot?
I think so, yeah. Has anyone had the bush shack beer? Yeah, come up.
All right, so that pod, like for me, on my heat scale, I don't have a heat scale for sauce and a heat scale for peppers. I just have a heat scale. On a scale from 1 to 10, that's probably like a 2 for me right now. I'm still talking, and I'm sweating, not because of that pepper. I'm sweating because it's hot as can be right now. But I'm not sweating because of that pepper.
So we go on the Naga Monster. What's your name?
A Naga Monster.
I'm Nadia.
Nadia?
Not Sadia.
Nadia
Not
picked the Naga.
Sadia. Sadia, your friend. All right, so tell us about that one.
I'm not quite sure. It's a Naga pod. It's super hot, that's for sure. It's going to be north of 1 million Scoville heat units. You know what's interesting? Check this out. Smell that. Want a bite?
No, I don't. I'm not.
You
I
smell
like
that?
chili, but not like that.
You smell it. It's pungent though. It's like,
When you had the Reaper before, and I was about a good metre away, I couldn't believe how much of the smell I got, the fragrance.
let me tell you a funny story. When I jumped out of the, it's hot by the way. When I jumped out of the airplane in Colorado, we went to 13,000 feet. And before we jumped, we're on the ground. And I said, what are we doing today? He knew the show, he'd seen it. I said, I'm going to jump out of an airplane today and eat a bunch of peppers during the free fall. And he looked at me like I was crazy. Not because of the skydiving, because that's what he does, but the pepper part, he didn't make sense to him. He was like, why would you want to do that? I'm like, have you ever heard anybody doing that before? He goes, no. I'm like, that's why. So we went up to, it was really funny. He goes, what are you going to be able to, what's going to happen when you can't do it? I said, what do you mean I can't do it? Can't. I wasn't raised using that word. Listen, that's a 4-letter word, can't. I didn't say that growing up. I said, of course I can. I just don't miss the shot. Make sure the cameraman's in front of me. But we went up at 13,000 feet, and when you free fall, we were going about 125 miles an hour. I ate the 3 pods. We popped the canopy at 5,000 feet. He's behind me because we're attached. I used to be certified, but it's been a long time, so I'm not anymore. So we pulled the canopy. His head's right here. All I hear is, Johnny, I smelled peppers the entire free fall. Now, he had a face mask on and a helmet. And I'm in front of him, and we're going 125, and in spite of that, he still smelled that pepper the entire free fall. It was amazing.
So you knocked back some peppers and then jumped off the plane? Or
Yeah, oh no, I did it on the, I ate a couple in the plane, but when we were in the doorway, you can see the video, it's kind of a cool video. It's very, very clear, it's really great. It's not like you can fake it. Unless you go to Hollywood and use a green screen, right? But I put one in my mouth, and each time I put a pepper in my mouth, the cameraman, he was so close I could have touched his feet. He's right there. But it's a great shot. Here's a funny thing. It's probably the video I'm most proud of because it was scary. It was like incorporating 2 of the greatest rushes you can possibly have in the same event.
Can you put a link up on the Chili Festival page?
Of course.
So we can all have a...
Yeah, but listen, I want everybody to do this, please. I never even ask people to do this. Go to YouTube, type in Chasetheheat. You'll see my ugly mug. But I'll entertain you. And it doesn't matter if your kids are this big or you have parents watching. I'll never say anything that's going to offend anybody. And I promise you, you'll be entertained.
Has anyone got any questions for Johnny? Yep. I'll come out, bring the microphone to you.
The tattoo on your arm, is that capsaicin?
Yeah, it's a funny thing. You know, I was with, this is Desiree holding the camera right there. She helps run my channel. And we were in, I think it was Tennessee or Ohio, I'm not sure where we were, but we were sitting around, I was having a beer after an event, and I said, I want to get a new tattoo. And she said, really? And I mean, 20 minutes later, I'm in this tattoo shop, and the guy who was getting, and I said, I want the chemical formula for capsaicin tattooed on my arm. And I pulled it up to make sure that I wasn't getting something for like some weird thing on my arm, you know, just to make sure I'm getting the right thing, because it will be there forever. And the guy who did the tattoo happened to be a chemist. He went to college for chemistry. And he said, no, that's capsaicin for sure. And it didn't occur to me until after we got home. If you guys look at that, can you use your imagination to see the word Johnny in that? Do you guys see the J, the O, the H, the N, and the Y? Kind of felt like it was a perfect thing. It made sense to me. So I got that. I have a purple tiger here. Yellow Maruga back here. Every one of my tattoos is sort of, we do it on, every time we go to a different ship, I get a tattoo to kind of commemorate it, and that's what that is.
Anyone else got a question? Yeah. It's Nick, isn't it?
Have you had a chance to eat any pepper X?
I've eaten Pepper X in sauces several times. I've not had the pepper itself. I know Ed, who's the creator, and he has assured me that when he starts sending them out, I'll be one of the first people he sends them to. But I don't know. Listen, have you guys heard of the dragon's breath? Okay, there's a lot of people who say the dragon's breath is the hottest thing in the world, and the warning is it could kill you. Be careful. I was a week ago. I was in Sydney, and someone had grown a dragon's breath, and about 20. You know how it is. Pick a pepper for Johnny. I eat a lot of peppers, so I ate a yellow Carolina Reaper, excuse me, which is very hot. And about a half hour later, he pulls out this dragon's breath. He goes, "You want to eat it, Johnny? Be careful, it could kill you." So I ate the dragon's breath, and excuse me, it was hot. It wasn't as hot as the yellow Reaper I had just eaten. And I said to the guy who grew it, I said, "I don't mean to, bum you out. That's not even close to a Reaper." So I think here's the problem. Everybody's screaming hot, hot, hot. Everyone wants the hottest pepper, the hottest pepper. It's like who's tallest? Who can, everyone wants the hottest pepper. Who in here wants to eat the hottest pepper? Let's see a showing of hands. But not many. Most people don't want to eat the hottest pepper. But it's a bravado thing. I'll believe the Pepper X is the hottest pepper in the world when I eat it. I trust Ed. He's a friend of mine, so we'll see what happens. But I've eaten sauces with it. Have you guys ever heard of the Last Dab? Last Dab is a hot sauce made with Pepper X. The second generation Last Dab is made with Pepper X and chocolate Pepper X. There's a YouTube channel called The First We Feast, where they have celebrities. I mean, like every celebrity you can imagine. And there's 8 different chicken wings. Each one is progressively hotter. And Last Dab is the hottest sauce in that. Now, on 2 different occasions, I drank the whole bottle. It's just not as hot. It's not as hot as everybody said would have you believe. It is delicious, but it's not quite as hot. You had a question.
This will have to be the last one, though.
No problem.
Because we've got Kenny up on stage in a sec. So
yeah, I want to.
Here we go.
My man. There's the guy right there. I'm sorry.
What does the tattoo on your leg
Which one? This one here?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? You want to hear a funny story behind that? That tattoo, every time I get a tattoo, I got a bunch of them. There's a website you can go to verify what you're getting is what you're getting, so you're not getting like something silly tattooed on you. I go to like China and be like, ha, ha. You know what I mean? They'll laugh at me. This, my daughter, to this day, thinks that means Kung Pao chicken and an egg roll. It does not. It means love conquers all. And that's why we're all here, for the love of Chiles. So I want to thank you guys for all being with me. You guys are an amazing group of people. It's like a big, giant family reunion. I got to hug all of you. That right there is the man. Now listen, he's going to be up here cooking. This is Chef Kenny. Right over there is chilling out in WA. When I tell you these, some of the greatest sauces you're going to find on this, you get in a car and drive for 5 days, you're not going to find a better sauce than what he makes. But it's not just sauces, it's oils and all kinds of amazing products. Please do me a favor. If you want to come over and say hi or get a picture taken and shake my hand, it would be my honor. But come over and try some of these products, because if you leave without trying them or without getting some of them, it's an error, okay? But I want to thank you guys for watching and hanging out and listening and being attentive. I love all of you. Go to my channel, Chase the Heat.
Let's hear it for Johnny. Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you.
And you're back again later tomorrow.
I'll be back tomorrow.
Come back tomorrow.
Hey, Chef Kenny. Where's Chef Kenny?
Here he comes.
Aren't we already planning next year's visit now? All right, so next year I'll be back. We're already planning it, and next year I'll be back for a month. And this time I went to Sydney first, and then came here. Next year I'm coming here for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we'll go. So we're gonna be here next year again. But I want to thank all of you because you're amazing. Chase the heat.